There's an old school rap song, and it starts off with, I'm thinking of a master plan. But what happens when we are not thinking of a master plan, but we're trying to follow the master's plan? And sometimes when we're following the master's plan, it doesn't match up with our plan that we thought was going to work. But suddenly it stalled, and now we're asking God, God, I need you. What is it you want me to do? And He gives you this simple command. I'm coming from Psalm chapter 37, verse 23, and I'm reading from the King James Version. It says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delighteth in His way." The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delighteth in His way. So when we think of steps, we think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or even if you think about when you are stepping outside and you're walking on steps, they usually progress pretty quickly. There's not a big, huge gap between steps. But when the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, who's to say how long it's going to be between your first step and your second step? What if there's a long period of time? What if it's 6 months? What if it's a year? What if it's 5 years? What if it's 10 years between steps 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or 3 and 4? Or what if there's not a way for you to see beyond that first step? And what I want to let you know is that in order for us to begin the step, we have to make the commitment to step, regardless of what it looks like in our lives, regardless of if this matches the way that we thought that it was going to look, regardless of us not knowing when the next step is going to happen. Because a lot of us, like myself, we need to work on patience. So sometimes what happens when we're praying for patience, what God does is He sends us a situation, or He sends us a process that's going to stretch that patience. And if we're stepping from one step to another and it's one after the other, how are we getting our patience in order? How are we developing that muscle of having better patience with people if things are continually going back to back to back, or if we're predicting it to go back to back to back? That goes back to what verse 23 is saying, the steps of a good man. And we are wanting to be in alignment with what God wants us to do. But then the conflict that we have internally is that His way may not necessarily be our way. And that's when we get conflicted. We're like, man, I want to be a good man, and I want to have my steps ordered by the Lord, but this is not happening the way that I want it to happen. How many of you have had something and you're like, you know what? I prayed to the Lord about this, but I just can't see my way out of this. What I'm telling you is that when we want our steps to be ordered by the Lord, that order, those steps may take some time. But regardless of how long it takes, it's always going to be worth it to do it His way. Because if we try to speed it up, there's something that we can miss. Imagine think about when we fast forward through a movie, one of your favorite movies, or a movie that you're looking at, and you know that one part that you are looking at the movie for. There's a scene that you want to replicate or be able to say word for word. You're bypassing all the other parts that led up to that part. So now you're only getting one snapshot of the movie that you really like. You may not have seen all the other parts to be able to get the full background. And a lot of times we're trying to speed through life and get to the good part. But in order to get to the good part and truly appreciate it, we have to go through the entire part of the process. And sometimes that process is not going to be like this. We want it to be like, we want that business idea to just take off. We want to be able to just get out of our situations like that. And I'm sorry if someone's preached that to you before. That's not the way that it works all the time. And oftentimes, our faith is contingent upon the speed that God answers our prayer, because He has to answer it on our time instead of the other way around, we're relying on his strength. We're trying to use our own strength to try to manipulate him to do what it is that we want him to do instead of answering the call and having our steps ordered by him, which is not contingent, it's independent of the fact that we want him to move the way that we want us to move. We want him to move in chronological order, but there is a particular order that God has, but it's not necessarily what we think that it's going to be. And we have to be open to that. That's why community is so important. God places people around you to help you in those challenging moments. God gives you that he reaches out to you in his own special way to be able to let you know, I am still here with you. I am molding you. Just give me some time. I'm working on you. Watch me work. Listen to my voice. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And we're like, no. I got to tell you something. I'm sick and tired of this situation. And if we're talking, we're not listening. And so when we're not listening, we blame it on him, saying, I don't hear you, Lord, but we're continually talking. God's wanting you to be still and know that he's God. And you'll be able to hear what he's saying if we can just stop talking. So when we do this, let's just stop talking. Let's be quiet. What are you saying, Lord? I hear you now.